So which colleges should you avoid? In this video, I'm going to reveal how to assess whether a college is really worth your investment and what schools you should stay clear of during the college search process. Coming up. Hey everybody, Andrew here with College Transitions. On this channel, we provide tips and strategies that help you navigate the college application process, including suggestions on how to identify good fit schools, which is the focus of this week's video. So if you're new here, consider subscribing, and at any point while watching, feel free to check out links in the description below to review blogs and other information related to this video's topic, which examines the colleges that you might want to cross off your list. So let's get started. This week's question comes from Maggie in Sugar Land, Texas. Dear Andrew and Dave, I recently read your book, The Enlightened College Applicant, and really enjoyed reading the section which discusses colleges to avoid. I understand why students should stay away from schools with high costs and low potential returns, but I didn't see an actual list of schools. Did I miss something? Well, thanks for your email, Maggie, and no, you didn't miss anything. We don't provide an actual list of colleges to avoid because the list is actually quite different for all students. So let's run through a couple examples to make this point more clear. Take Southern Methodist University, or SMU, in Dallas, Texas, a very reputable school that comes with a very high sticker price, more than $70,000 per year. Now, SMU may be a great option for an aspiring business major who receives great financial aid and plans to pursue finance, a lucrative profession and a subject area in which SMU excels. However, if that same student wants to become a teacher and qualifies for relatively little financial aid, then SMU should probably be avoided because there are other more cost-effective options within the state. So a college can be both one to consider and one to avoid. It really depends on both your circumstances and your academic or career plans. But let's take another example. Let's think about an even more competitive college like Columbia University. Could a school as prestigious as Columbia really be thought of as a college to avoid? Well, again, it depends on the context. So Maggie, as I noted before, lives in Texas. Now, assume that Maggie wants to become an engineer. She has outstanding grades, outstanding test scores, and was recently admitted into the School of Engineering and Applied Science at Columbia. She was also admitted into the Cockrell School of Engineering at UT Austin. Now, let's say Maggie's family is middle to upper class and has qualified for some but not a whole lot of financial aid at Columbia. In fact, after financial aid, Maggie's family would have to pay approximately $50,000 per year for her to attend. Now, this price is much higher than what she would be paying at UT Austin, where she received a small but not insignificant scholarship, and where her cost of attendance would be slightly under $20,000 per year. So there's a couple things Maggie has to consider. First, UT Austin, like Columbia, has an incredibly strong engineering school, and also, like Columbia, has an excellent reputation among the country's most desirable employers like Apple, IBM, Boeing, etc. Second, Maggie must also consider that earnings among engineers don't vary all that much across college selectivity. In other words, engineers graduating from UT Austin end up making about the same on average as engineers graduating from Columbia. So in Maggie's case, is Columbia a college to avoid? Well, it's reasonable to assume that it is, given that Maggie is likely to incur a lot of debt, and also because it appears that Columbia would offer little in the way of an earnings premium. So while Columbia, given its reputation and prestige, may prove as a wise decision for the majority of students, for Maggie, maybe it isn't. So again, context must be considered when determining whether a particular college should be avoided. Now finally, let's move our way down the selectivity spectrum and consider a school like High Point University in North Carolina. Not a bad school by any means, but a school with an extremely high average net price. Middle-class families typically spend upwards of $35,000 to $40,000 per year after financial aid, and whose reputation isn't likely to offer students any type of earnings premium. If costs are a concern, then this is a college to avoid. In other words, why would I pay an extra $20,000 to $30,000 a year to attend a college that isn't likely to give me any advantage in the marketplace or in the graduate school admissions process? It just doesn't make sense. If costs are not a concern and High Point offers a really good fit, then by all means. Again, High Point isn't a bad school. It's just not a school for which you can justify taking on thousands of dollars in debt. And I don't mean to pick on High Point. There are hundreds, perhaps thousands of schools that fall into this high-cost, low-earnings premium category, and which cost-conscious families should be avoiding. So to recap, there isn't a set list of colleges to avoid because that list will be different for everyone, dependent upon their circumstances and aspirations. However, there are certain things that everyone should consider when determining whether or not they should avoid a particular school. First, is the school especially reputable? More specifically, does this school offer a competitive advantage with respect to future earnings or your prospects for graduate school? And do significantly more affordable options exist, particularly those that can provide similar returns? Second, what role does college selectivity play within your desired field? For business majors, the answer to that question is potentially a whole lot, whereas for education majors, the answer is probably not as much as you think. So college selectivity usually does matter, at least somewhat, but the returns to selectivity can vary significantly across majors and professions. Finally, what can you afford? If costs are of little concern, feel free to choose the expensive private or out-of-state public with an average or slightly above average reputation, particularly if it appears to provide a great fit. However, if costs are a concern, avoid these schools like the plague. I'm not kidding. Now, all in all, weighing each of these considerations isn't an easy thing and does require some research. A good place to start, we think, is our book, The Enlightened College Applicant, which discusses at length how one can and should evaluate the suitability of a particular school. Other resources, including those on our website and those provided by other organizations, are provided below. So that does it for this week. Thanks for listening and look forward to seeing you next time. If you want to learn more about the college admissions process, please follow us on social media or visit us at collegetransitions.com.